Hey, Jonathan Tapp here, co-founder of Learn More Parkour, and welcome to the second video of this three-part video training series over how to do parkour. And in the last video, we covered the 5-step learning system for how to do all the basic movements quickly and easily, and then how to progress with them once you learn them. So if you haven't checked it out, make sure to put your email to the side, that way I can send you the series of videos. In this video, we're going to be going over 3 basic movements in parkour. We're going to be going over the basic landing, we're going to be going over the parkour roll, and then we're going to be going over the wall run. So these are 3 essential moves you're going to be using a lot in parkour, and the basic landing is what we use to land basic movements. We're going to be using this a lot. And the principles for the basic landing are going to apply for the parkour roll, so we want to learn this first and then learn the parkour roll. And the parkour roll is what we use to land from high obstacles, absorb them without injury, and then to run out of them once we perform the move. So the parkour roll is one of the most important moves that we're going to learn. And then the next move we're going to learn after that is the wall run. Now the wall run is what we use to run up obstacles or run up walls. And you can use this to run up walls up to 8 feet, and then if you get the move down to almost walls that are twice your height. So this is definitely a really cool move, and it's going to be a lot of fun to get once you get it down. So what we're going to do is go over these moves, and then I want you to use the learning system that we went over in the previous video, in video 1, and use that to follow to learn these moves. It will make it a lot easier and make you progress with them a lot faster. So the first move we're going to be going over is the basic landing. You're going to be using this move a lot. It's what you're going to be using almost out of every move, and it's also the basic principles for the parkour roll. So it's very important that we learn this, and we learn this first. Let's go ahead and go into it right now. Alright, now it's time to get into the basic movements behind parkour. The first move we're going to start off with is the basic landing, and a lot of the principles with the basic landing will carry over to the other moves that we learn. And the basic landing you're going to be using a lot in parkour and freerunning, so you want to learn this first. So this basic landing is going to be used for, as it says, basic landings. For more advanced landings, like as from really high obstacles, or when you have a lot of forward momentum, we'll be using the parkour roll, which we'll get into later. But for right now, for small jumps and easy landings, we're going to start with the basic landing. And the 3 points you want to remember with this landing is, 1, you always land on the balls of your feet. So you're always going to be landing on the ball of your feet. That way, your body will act like a spring and it will be able to absorb. When you land on your heels or flat-footed, your body stiffens out and you can't absorb any pressure or downward force, and all that pressure goes into your lower back and into your joints and leads to injury. Alright, the second key point is you never want your knees to go below 90. When they go below 90, that means that you're putting too much pressure in knee joints and you're not landing properly. Alright, the third key point is with your hips. As you land, you're going to absorb with your hips and keep your back straight. That way you're able to use your body to its full potential and absorb the most amount of impact. Alright, so let's go into the steps of the basic landing. Step 1, your legs are going to be shoulder width apart. That way you can absorb the full amount of landing. You don't want them too wide or too narrow, because you won't be able to absorb the right amount of downward force and you can injure yourself. So shoulder width apart, you're going to land on the balls of your feet, like I said before, and you're going to absorb with all your joints at the same time. So, and you want to imagine yourself landing as soft as you can on the ground. Okay, second part. Once you reach this area, you're not going to let your knees go below 90, and you're going to open up your hips and allow them to absorb momentum too, and keep the back straight. So look like this. You go down, you land, balls of feet, come up. Here, come up. You want to think of it like a squatting position. There's a reason why you do a squat like that, so you can absorb the most amount of weight, and that's what you do with the landing. Landing like this. Absorbing with the hips, keeping your back straight so you don't feel any pain there. You'll be landing like that. Alright, if you're up on a high level, and you're taking a high drop, you want to incorporate the third part, the third step, and that is where you're going to transfer momentum forward and land on your hands. So what you're going to do is, as you land and you feel yourself absorbing too much where you might go past 90 degrees, then you want to lean forward and collapse onto your hands. So you'll be here, your back will still be straight, and you'll lean forward and use your hands to support. So you'll slap your hands on the ground and then jump and run out of it. So it'll look like this. Jump, land, you come out. That way you land properly, and you can either put your hands a little bit inside or even with your legs. So it's like this. You come out. Okay, that's the basic landing. Train on it, get comfortable with it, because you'll be using it a lot. Okay, so that was a basic landing tutorial. Make sure you learn that first before we go into the parkour roll, or before you start training on the parkour roll. Because if you don't have the basic landing right, then you're not going to be able to get the parkour roll landing correct either. So make sure you get this down correct and get it down first. Alright, now let's just move on to the parkour roll and the parkour roll tutorial. It's an in-depth tutorial and I think you'll really like it. Now, it's been scientifically proven that by using the parkour roll, you can jump off of obstacles as high as 10 feet with the same amount of impact as a normal person doing a jumping jack. So this is something you really want to learn and get down. If you learn the parkour roll, whenever you're up on something high, you won't be scared to jump off, and when you do the roll, you won't get injured. If you don't learn the parkour roll, if you're ever put in a critical situation where you need to jump off of something that's high, you won't know how to do it, you'll be scared, and you'll most likely injure yourself. So you definitely want to get this move down and get it down properly. So that's what I'm going to be doing today. I'm going to be showing you how to do it and do it right. As you can see, I'm in front of my whiteboard. I'm really just going to show you the physics behind it and why we do the roll in the first place. Alright, so just to draw a picture. Here's a 10-foot high obstacle. Here's you. Give you a nice little smiley face. And here's the ground. Okay, now if you don't know the roll, or the people who don't know the roll, this is usually what they do. You would jump off, and you're timid, you're scared, you probably wouldn't jump off that far, so you go straight up, and then all your weight and momentum and force would go straight down into the ground. Okay, so 100% of this is going into the ground, and so all that pressure and all that force is going directly into your body. Now this person, say you might run and jump off. If you don't know the roll, all this force is now going long ways and into your body, and when you hit the ground, what's going to happen is you're going to slam your knees and then your arms and probably your head into the ground depending on how high you are. So both of these spell disaster when you don't know the parkour roll. Okay, what the parkour roll does is it distributes this downward momentum across your roll. So we want to learn the parkour roll so we can distribute that downward force across our roll and less impact on our body.